there was in my book, The Winning Family, I have a section about whining, and the I've got the 3 magic words for you I'm going to tell you at the end of this that will completely change the dynamics. So, a fine whine might be something like, "But mom," or "I really wanted to do." Sometimes it's the tone of voice, sometimes it's the word that's said. It's the sound of frustration for the child and irritation for the parent. There's something biological about babies that they're so cute that we can't that we care for them, and but they're constantly irritating us, and yet we have to rise above our irritation to show them love and care. And speaking of whining, this is my fine wine this morning. This guy keeps saying, "Mom, what's going on? I want to be part of it. I want this to be all about me." This is Fluffy. He's my familiar, and he's very annoying when he whines at me. And unfortunately, my trick for kids does not work on cats. So, getting my thoughts together. I just wanted to start with a story. I write about positive parenting, which is closely related to positive psychology, and it's based. Positive psychology is this new is this direction that the American Psychological Association took a couple decades ago, and it was led by a man named Martin Seligman. You may have read his books about optimism, but he has a story about he had an epiphany that it was about his daughter and how she was like 5 and he was out there trying to get some work done and weed the garden, and his kid was playing around and throwing flowers, and he snapped at her, and she stood her ground and said, "Daddy, you have to stop being so grumpy." And he thought for a minute, like, "Who are you to tell me this, child?" But she said, "Daddy, I gave up whining, so you can give up being grumpy." This precipitated a shift in his thinking from looking at the disease model of psychology and thinking. He was working at that time on experiments with dogs. It's horrible. Like, you shock them. How long does it take to shock a dog before they like give up, right? He was working on learned helplessness, which is sadly a big focus, of control in patriarchy. He shifted his thinking that day to, wait, what about the dogs who escape? What about the ones who never learn helplessness, the ones who never give up, the ones who will find a way to get out of that situation? Why am I not focusing on that instead, on those dogs instead? So that was a huge paradigm shift for him, where suddenly he started focusing on strengths, and he steered the entire ship of the American Psychological Association in a new direction to focus on strengths, which is why I think we have so much more wisdom out there. It's all over the media and social media and influencers who really have a lot of ideas are spreading now like wildfire that are truly based in positive psychology, which is the science of expanding positive emotion. And don't we just need that? So I'm saying that to say that whining is core to this huge paradigm shift that we're having. Okay, so next I want you to just think about a time when you were a child. And if you have a kid with you, I want to hear it in the comments, because this is something that kids and parents can work on together. So think of a time when you, the parent, or you, the child, was feeling like whining, was feeling like you were trying to get your point across, and you were maybe crying, or you were maybe feeling sad, and your voice is going up like this. And how did that feel when you were in that position, in that situation? To me, when that was me as a little kid, I was feeling at the end of my powers. I was feeling like I had no way to get what I want. I was feeling like nobody cared what I was what I wanted. Nobody was listening to me. And that's a terrible place to be. And when I say these things, you realize how often we're just kind of whining inside without saying it out loud, that we actually feel like that sometimes when our self-esteem is. So, the whining gives parents an opportunity not only to protect their own needs of stop hurting my ears, but to help the child not only get their needs met, but to learn how to get their needs met ongoing with better tactics than whining. Because no one likes a whiner. No one likes a complainer. And we can't go through life whining and complaining. When we make this shift, like Martin did, like his daughter did, we have so much more power to get what we need and what we want. So here's my story about the 3 magic words, and this is my mother's. My mother thought of this. She is my co-author. Where did I put the book? My cat is sitting on it. Excuse me, Fluffy. So this is the book again. This was originally a book by Dr. Louise Hart, and she basically wrote it about her experience raising me and my brothers. Turns out we all have ADHD, and that's not easy for a mom in a world who's trying not to pathologize her kids. But she was a speaker all over the world. She was a real parent, a real force in the changing perspective of how we parent. And this is before positive psychology came along. But she helped parents click the switch and build self-esteem in their kids. Because think about whining. When you're whining, what's your self-esteem doing, right? And self-esteem, when we focus on self-esteem, when we keep self-esteem in mind, then nobody can lose, because we can create more win-win situations when we allow everyone to have self-respect and to keep a sense of themselves about them in all transactions. So this book was just sold like hotcakes, and it went out of print, not because it wasn't selling, but because the publisher died, and then it got moved around to different publishers and the industry. But anyway, we brought it back in 2022. This is the 35th anniversary edition, and this edition was written with me in the driver's seat. So it's all of my mom's wisdom. It's my voice blended with hers. And she is now 88. Hi, Mom. And doesn't want to do any more public speaking anymore. So that's what I get to do. But my point is that the story that is in this book, which you can hear on my podcast, which is called The Whining Family, and my first episode was with my son, is that our house was a no whining zone. When a kid would come into it, and our son whined once, and I said this thing, and then after that I would say it to other kids, this is no whining zone. And here's the technique that my mom used. When the kid comes to talk like, she says, I can't hear you in that tone of voice. And so here's the 3 magic words. Lower your voice. We think that this is a byproduct, that high whining voice, we think that's a byproduct of the bad feeling. But just like how when you smile, you actually, even if you don't feel like smiling, if you smile, it triggers all of the happy endorphins, right? So when you put the physical before the emotional, it's a game changer. So she says, lower your voice. Those are the three magic words. And when a child can lower their voice and say, then they can say, I want, I need. And it turns from complaining into assertiveness. And that is a skill that we all need to work on all our lives, and teaching that to kids when they're little, making it a family rule, no whining zone. When we want something, we're gonna talk in a low voice. And that way we can understand each other, we can calm down, we can help each other get what we need. So, I would like to invite you, if you would like to learn more about our work, about positive parenting, and all the hundreds of thousands of little skills. The book is packed full of them, but we also have a really wonderful offering that includes the book and a series of all kinds of great resources. And I'm going to put a link in the comments to the Uplift, let's see, what's it called? How to Build Self-Esteem in Your Children and Yourself. And that was my mom's big talk, and we have a recording of it. You can watch the first part of it for free, and I'll put our other resources in the chat. So thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Have a magical New Year with a shift in your family tone. And just to leave, I'm going to show you my last thing is a picture from our book, the Uplift Family Playbook. And I have an image here of, this is a book of illustrations that I did for Mom's presentations. And the last one here is, can you see it? It takes no more energy to lift someone up than it does to put them down. So, peace.